Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi GITTEN DAF Lamed. We are on the third line from the top of the Amid. Says the Gemara, Huda Amar. This husband gives a get on his way out of town, and he says, look, it's on condition. Ilo yasina ad telasan yamin. If I do not return within 30 days, lihavagita, this get that I have just handed to my wife will be activated. So, if I'm back, no get. If I missed the 30-day deadline, the get becomes active. And what happened? Also, he tried to come back, but he got stuck on the other side of the river, Upaske, and he was cut off by the Mabra, by the ferry, which was not available at that point. So there was a river, was a ferry shuttle meant to go back and forth, and the shuttle was unavailable. So he got stuck on the other side of the city, and there goes 30 days. It came, close to the deadline, and he missed it. So the word Mabra can either be referring to the actual river or to the crossing of the river. It was unavailable. He got stuck. Amaluhu, so he calls out. Rabbi said, look, I'm here. Chazu, take a look. The Asoy, I've returned. No get. Chazu the Asoy, look, I'm here. Amar Shmuel, well, you're on the other side of the river. That doesn't work. Lo Yishmei Masya. That's not considered having returned. And Rashi brings, based on a Gemara in the beginning of Kesubos, where there's a shaila of yesh oynes begitten or ein oynes begitten, which means, suppose he could not keep his condition because of circumstances, beyond his control, such as in this case. So according to some shittas, ein oynes, you can't have an oynes claim when it comes to fulfilling that condition pertaining to a get. So that's why we ignored his argument, his oynes here. According to the other shita, that yes, sometimes we reckon with oynes as well. Yesh oynes begitten. Well, over here it's different because he should have spelled it out. It was something which he could have foreseen. It was pretty much an expected situation. Sometimes you get the ferry, sometimes you don't. So you should have spelled it out. Look, if I'm back in the last minute and I'm stuck because of the ferry, it should not count. So failing to mention that is now, counted against him. Okay, so bottom line is, it was not a fulfillment, he had not returned, and therefore the get becomes active. Here comes another similar case. Hahuda Amrlahu. So this fellow once again gives the get, and he tells them, look, if I'm not successful in appeasing her, changing her mind, making up with her, until 30 days are up, lihavagita. So if I'm not successful, if I don't do that, the get becomes active. So what happens? He tried his best. Azal, pisa v'lo yifaisa. He tried to appease her, and she did not accept his appeasement. Status quo. What happens now? On the one hand, he wasn't successful. On the other hand, he tried his best. So when he said that the get is only going to be active if I don't do piyus, what did he mean? The attempt, the efforts, or the result? Amar Rav Yosef. Of course it's his fault. He didn't go all out. He could have done much more than that. Did he give her a shipment of gold coins? Tarkava is tray, 2, and kav is 1, so 3 kav. Did he give her a bunch of coins to appease her, to show his sincerity? And she still did not take to it? Meaning, he didn't do that. So he didn't really make a serious attempt at achieving peace, at achieving appeasement. And he did not fulfill his condition. And he can't say, it's not my fault. It is his fault. He should have done better. There's another version of this response of Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef, midi tarkava de dinri boil mesavla. Do you think he has to go to that extent, all out, to give her coins? He doesn't have coins. He's an honest. What should he do? He did the best he can do. Hapisa v'lo yifaisa. He tried to appease her and it didn't work. And therefore the get is not going to be active. So these two versions in Rabbi Yosef really are hinging upon that question that we mentioned before. Is the oinus factor a factor at play when it comes to a t'nai of a get or not? Ha kemanda amar yesh oines begitten. Ha kemanda amar ein oines begitten. So the second version of Rabbi Yosef, which was, well, the get is bottle because, he didn't have to give her those coins. He tried his best. So anything, past that is sort of an oinus. He's not obligated to, to go all out. He doesn't have the coins. What should he do? So, therefore, it's not a get. Because as tonight was, if I don't appease her, I did. I tried my best. I can only do as much as I can do. Past that is an oinus. And therefore, it's not a get. That's version 2 of Rav Yosef. Because yesh oinus begitten. We account for oinus by get. Ha, kamada omar. The first version of Rav Yosef, which was, well, did he go all out? Did he give her money? Did he pair her off? Did he really try his best? Ha, kamada omar ein oinus begitten. So even though he couldn't, he doesn't have access to a tarkiv adidinri. So what? Even though it's an oinus, he can't say tanas oinus. I couldn't do more. And therefore, it is a get. And this discussion of ein oinus or yesh oinus is actually a whole sugya in the beginning of Ksubos. Daf Beis, Daf Gimel. Okay, let's continue the mission. Hamal v'mois es hakohen v'es halevi v'es ha'ani. So a person lent money to either a kohen, to a levi, to a poor man, and he sort of made a barter deal with them to help them out. You don't have to pay me anything. Here's $100. You're scot-free, but here's the arrangement. I have lots of crops, and eventually I'm going to be separating Truma Gedola, which is meant for the kohen, or Maser Rishon, meant for the levi, or Maser Ani, meant for the poor person. I'll keep those and apply it towards the debt, which is a beautiful favor that he's doing. Hamal v'mois as a kohen, as a levi, as a ani, lios mafresh alein, with the intent to set aside, the truma and the maser for them, mechalkan, from their portion. Basically, he's going to be deducting that from the debt. And what's he going to do with the truma? So sell it to a kohen. What's he going to do with the maser rishon? Actually, he can have it himself. Once he separates the trumas maser, which goes to the kohen, the rest goes to Yisrael, or the maser on Yisrael, and Yisrael can keep. So he's basically really helping out these people. He's giving them money and pretty much not asking anything in return. He can do that. Mafresh alein, he can do this arrangement on account of these individuals, b'cheska shein kayamin, assuming they're still alive. Because of course this arrangement only works as long as they're around. Because basically when he's separating the truma or the maser, it's as though he gave it to them and he's taking it back on account of the debt. Is there a concern that they're no longer amongst the living? No. What was, will be. That's called chazaka. We assume they're still alive. He doesn't have to be concerned that perhaps the kohen passed away, or a levi, or maybe the poor man turned wealthy, and he's not eligible for a maserani any longer. No chashash. We assume things are status quo. But if he knows for a fact that mesu, that they did pass away, then he can't just continue as usual. He has to go ask permission. He has to go to the heirs, to the Yerushim, who sort of assumed their father's debt, and now he can sort of continue that arrangement with them, with their consent. Now, im hilvan b'fnei bezdin, if the original debt arrangement was done with the bezdin's participation, in this case, even if the original kohen or levi or ani passed away, there's no need for him to approach the Yisraimim. He doesn't have to ask permission from the Yerushim. Rashi explains because Bezdin has a koyach to place this obligation on all kohanim, all Levim. So basically, it's for the benefit of the collective, kohanim and Levim and Aniyim, to have money available for loaning, so that they can have what they need. So it's really their teva, it's for their sake, it's for their good, and therefore Bezdin has the authority to impose this arrangement, so to speak, on all kohanim, all Levim, and in this case, where the original person is no longer here, he doesn't have to go ask permission anew from the Yershim. It's sort of in track, it's there. The arrangement holds true because of the koyach Bezdin. So what's the chiddush in the Mishnah? You can loan money to a kohen, and then take away some, separate some truma on his behalf, and then keep it, and apply it to the loan, deduct it from the debt. Question is, you can do that even if the truma never was given to the kohen, or the maser rishon to the levi, or maser ani to the ani. Well, there's a mitzvah nesina. You have to give it. You can only consider it his when it's his. So first you would have to give it to him and then take it back as repayment for that loan. But now Mishnah is not doing that. He lent them money, and then he turns away. He never sees them again. He says, look, whatever I'm going to be separating from the truma, up to the amount of the loan, is considered repayment. Well, it never got to the kohen to be considered his, to be considered repayment. We have three terutzim. Amar Rabbi Makare Kahuna v'Levia. We're speaking that these kohanim and Levim are his friends, who he's accustomed to giving the truma and maser regardless. The other kohanim are not expecting this fellow's truma. They know it goes to this person. Other Levim know it goes to this Levi. So they're masiach das. They sort of remove themselves and their claim from this truma and maser. And Rashi says it's as though it is theirs. The fact that everybody else sort of relinquishes their claim from this truma, from this maser, it is considered belonging to these. It is designated for them, and therefore it's as good as theirs, and it can be deducted from their loan. Ushmuel Amar, Shmuel says he actually made it theirs, but not directly, indirectly. So this Yisrael, the creditor, the Baal Chayv, took the maser and gave it to a neighbor of his. Says, make a kinyan, be zoicha, on behalf of the Levi. You can do that, right? Zachan the Adam Shalai B'Fanam. So now it belongs to the Levi, and now he can take it back and apply it towards the loan. Ula Amar, a different shot, Hamani Rabbi Yesi. Our mission is found Rabbi Yesi, the Amar, who says that many times we find, for the benefit of the recipient, Chazal did that. Asu she'ena zoicha. Chazal considered a non zoicha k'zoicha as though he acquired it. We find this by hunters, trapping animals, etc., etc. We find Chachamim made a takana, for the benefit of the community, that we considered his. Here as well, as we explained, it's all for the benefit of the kohen and the Levi, and therefore they considered the truma as his, and the arrangement holds. So we have three pshatim: b'makare kahuna, they're friendly kohanim, or through zikoi, through an acher, or takanas chachamim, to consider the material as though belonging to the kohen and the Levi. Now, kulu kurav le'amri, the other ones did not adopt Rav's pshat, the first pshat. Makar lektani, the Mishnah doesn't specify that these kohanim are his friends and his designated, recipients. Kishmol le'amri, they didn't want to go with Shmuel because b'mazaka lektani, there's no mention in the Mishnah that he was mazaka through another person. Kulu nami le'amri, they didn't go with Ula, kichidol le'mekmina, they preferred not relating our Mishnah to a shita, a yechida, individual shita of Rav Yesi, and therefore they chose their roots. Tanu Rabbanan. So the Gemara now will elaborate on this arrangement and tell us about 5 halachis that apply to it. 5 unusual elements found in this arrangement. Tanu Rabbanan. Hamalve mois. Es hakoyin v'salevi v'sa'ani. So a fellow lends them money, right? To deduct the truma, the master, from the loan. So you can do so, assuming they're alive. Now, we have 5 halachas. Some of them are ribis related. So typically a person has to be careful never to receive repayment in amount which was greater than he loaned, right? So your standard ribis is, here's $1 for 2. That's standard ribis ktsutza. Set ribis. Arranged ribis. Clear-cut ribis. That's ribis minat Torah. But a ribis element which is found in a in a sort of a business transaction, derech mekech memkar, that's not really minat Torah, especially when it's an unknown, it's sort of up in the air. I might get back more, I might not get back more. So that's what we deal with in Perek Ezeu Neshech, a very complicated, detailed Perek in Bava Metzia, as Hashem, coming up soon. So we're just going to briefly relate to a couple of elements, ribis-related concerns, which the Gemara will tell us don't apply in this case, even though perhaps they should, but there is a takanas chachamim, as we explained, to make it easier for this arrangement to take hold. Upoisek imohen kishar hazoil. So number one, the lender can make up with the Levi. Look, here's $1, right, as a loan. In exchange, I'm going to get the wheat of your maceration. Now today, a pound of wheat sells for $1. But he can say, look, maybe down the road, when it comes time for the hafrasha, when I actually, get the maceration for you, it's going to be 2 pounds per $1. It's going to go down in price. He can do that. It can be pegged on the lower price down the future, down the road. And likewise, if it's in the reverse, suppose it'll go up in price. No issue. He can say, look, here's $1. Eventually I'm going to take a pound of wheat in exchange of this $1, as per today's rate. And even if it goes up in price, so later on when it comes time for the Yisrael to collect the maceration, it's going to be a pound of wheat worth $2. So he's really going to get more value. He can do that. There's no issue of ribis. I think Gemara will soon explain how and why. Number 3, likewise Shemitah, which comes along, does not cancel this debt. It's not really a debt because I can't really go after the Levi. He has no obligation to repay me. We made an arrangement. I take my master. I can't go to him. So there's no din of shvius mishametes. If the Balabayis who lent the money decides, to cancel a deal after having already forwarded the funds to the Levi, you can't go back on that. This Yashua Bailam, another halacha. Suppose the deal was, I'm going to use this year's crop as repayment, and this year's crop went bad, spoiled. In which case the farmer sort of gave up on ever being repaid. Ein mafresh aleim, then it's too late. He can't collect maceration on that account, even if somehow his crop regenerates. Too late. He gave up on that. Because you can't take the maceration on something which you already relinquished. So we have 5 halachas, which we will now review. Omar, let's go back. So he can specify that if the price of a grain goes down, so I'm going to take based on the lower price. Pshita, of course, why can't he do that? It's not a vada, it's a suffix. It shouldn't be an issue of ribis here. Says the Gemara, even if he didn't actually specify that he's banking on a lower price, it's as though he specified that condition. It's just presumed that he wants the best deal possible, and therefore, when it drops, he can work with a lower rate and end up getting more for his money. So again, today's price was a pound of wheat for $1, and later on will be 2 pounds of wheat per $1. He can take 2 per dollar that he lent. The next case was if the price goes up, no issue of ribbis. If down the road it turns out that a pound of wheat is worth $2, so he's getting more value than he lent the Levi, no issue. My time, why not? The answer is like this. It's not an absolute arrangement. You know what? If the farmer comes up with no crop, no maceration found in his silo, the Levi is totally not responsible to repay. That was the deal. I take the money and I run. If you find maceration, but there's no guarantee you'll ever get anything back. And therefore, that mitigates the ribbis factor. Even if the farmer, happened to luckily find some grain to use as repayment for the loan, so even though he ends up gaining on the deal, as we explained, because the price went up, there's no ribbis factor here. The whole thing was just an uncertainty and does not count as ribbis. Thirdly, shvius does not interfere. Why? The pasuk says, don't go after the borrower. He's not going after him. Rashi says, I have no claim against you. I have to find some truma, some maser, to collect on your behalf. That's not called lo yigais. And finally, he decides to renege on the deal, he can't. This is only applied to the balabais, ela balabais, b'koyin. If the farmer decides to change the terms on the koyin, too late. But when it comes to the koyin changing the terms on the balabais, he can do that in bolachs or choiz. If he decides to change the deal, basically I'll pay you up and I want to take the truma instead, he could do so. Why? Because the whole mechanism here was based on the fact that it's as though the kohen got the truma. Well, he didn't get it yet. The snan, as we learned in the Mishnah, nasan leimois, a standard customer walks into a store, pays, but never actually took hold of the item. He can change his mind. Here as well, the kohen, until he actually finalized the deal, he can change his mind, pay up the loan, and take the peiros, the truma instead. This year Ashra Bailam. But if the deal was, look, it's this year's truma and no other year, and this year's crop failed, and the Baalam sort of was miyayish. Oh, this year's he wrote it off as a loss. Ein mafresh alein. So that's it. He can no longer separate the truma and the master on their account. Why? Because he can't do so if things were lost. Basically, he gave up his claim once he saw his crop failed. Well, pshita, obviously. Why even discuss this? The chiddush is the akon. His grain was already on the stalk. It was already sort of growing, and then it dried up, and he gave up on it. And then suddenly, wow! It rained and it regenerated and revived itself. And here he goes. He has his crop. Perhaps I would say akanto, since it's on the kon, it's on the stalk. Chances are it can. Good chance that it can regenerate. And he didn't really give up total hope on it. Milsahi, it's considered something with potential. Kamash won't know, because once he was miyayish, he gave up. He sort of wrote off the debt. He can no longer collect on it. Tanya, we have a brayso. Hamal v'mois is a kohen v'salevi. Bebezdin. This time he made the arrangement in the bezdin. Umeisu, when the kohen or levi passes away. Mafresh alein v'cheskas eisei shevet. As we learned in the Mishnah, you don't have to run to the Yershim to get permission. He can resume the arrangement based on the shevet, relying on the other kohanim, other leviim, because as we explained, bezdin has the right to impose it on the rest of the kohanim and leviim, because it's for their collective benefit that money should be available when needed. And likewise, vesa ani, the bezdin, if he lent money to a poor man with the bezdin involved in the arrangement, and he passed away, same thing happened. Mafresh Allah b'cheskas ani Yisrael, he can continue deducting the maser ani, even though the ani himself is not here, but there are other aniyim in the world, and he's sort of collecting from the other aniyim, because as you explained, it's not called taking from them improperly, because they're all okay with it. It's for their benefit, so that they can find lenders in a time of need. B'cheskas aniyah Yisrael, the local aniyim in town. It can be based on aniyim out in the world. What is the difference between Tanakama, who says aniyah Yisrael, and he says aniyah Olam? Might be not. It could be a difference like this. Let's say in this town there are no, aniyah Yisrael, but we have other types of aniyim. Ikibanayo Ani Kusim. Kusim, who's Gerus, was sort of questionable. We have those aniyim in town. That would be the machlikas. Tanakama says they're not part of the equation because they're not true gerim, and Rabachi considers them true gerim, and they can be part of the equation. What about He'eshir Hani? Instead of the ani dying, he turned wealthy, so he's no longer eligible for Maser Ani. So you can't really, put aside Maser Ani on his account. He's not an ani. Ein mafresh alav, so you can't do it. V'zocha alav b'masher b'yadeh. What happens to the money he loaned him? It's his money. Lucky him. He keeps the money because he never obligated to return it. He never was machayiv himself to repay the loan. Now the question is, v'rabbanon, hu masakin. If the ani is meis, keep on going. If the ani is he'esher, stop right there. Why? Either way, he's no longer an ani. Why did they make this takana to continue this arrangement when he passes away? But if he turns wealthy, we don't make the same takana. The answer is misa shchicha. Ashirus le'shchicha. It's more common to die than to become wealthy. Amar Papa. As people say, inshi, chavrach. If your friend mace, a person hears that a person dies, asher, confirm it. Chances are it's correct. Is asher, but that he turned wealthy, lo yisa asher, don't believe it. So as we know, Chachamim only make takanas on things which are common. So by Misa we make the takana, but not by Ashirus. But if Bezdin was not involved, and the person you lent the money to passed away, you can't just continue the arrangement until you check and confirm with the Yershim. Tanya Rabbi Yomer. Which type of Yershim? Yershim she only those who inherited something from their father. 1 second. Omiyika Yershin del Yarsi? What do you mean? Yershin are obviously those who inherit. Why? Otherwise they're not called Yershin. Elam Rabbi Yechanan. The halacha is like this. Rabbi meant specific Yershin. Yershin who are not obligated to address their father's debt. Sheyorshu Karka was speaking at the Yershim, inherited land from their father, in which case their father's debt carries over to them, and they're obligated to keep this arrangement with the Baal Chayv, as opposed to just inheriting monies and items which are not considered karka and don't generate a carryover of the debt. Okay, so how much karka do they need to deem them obligated for their father's chayv? Father left a teeny bit of land, a needle, the size of a needle. So now the lender has the right to collect that amount from the Yershim. So basically it's tit for that. It has to match the amount of the loan. The loan, the tvia, the claim against the Yershim, corresponds to the amount of land they got from their father. That's how much carryover there is on the loan. Mulay Kardim, a larger tract of land, a shovel size, basically a large piece of land, that allows the creditor to collect more based on how much land there is. So it's all value-based. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, he himself says no. So that was Rabbi Yehuda, right? Rabbi Yehuda, it's all corresponding to the exact amount of kaka. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, no, not at all. Even if he left a tiny bit of land, that allows the Baal Chayv to collect his entire debt. Afilu hiniach mulei machat. Goiva, how much? Mulei kardim. He can collect as much as he wants. Why? Okay, masa diktina dabayit. You see, the Baal Chayv can collect this little teeny piece of land, right? And now the Yershim will come back and redeem it, right? Here, take some money for it. Now, what does the Baal Chayv do? Goes back again and collects until he is repaid in full. He has a right to do that. Collect and recollect and recollect. Like the story of Ketino Abaye discussed in Mesachas Ksuba. It's a similar story. A fellow passed away, left behind a rather small piece of land worth 50. The Baal Chayv had a debt on him of a claim of 100. So what did he do? He collected the plot of land. The Yisraelim came, okay, here's 50, let's take it back. He went and recollected it again, repossessed the same piece of land, until he got his 100 back. So potentially, even a little piece of land can provide a full debt, a full loan, a full repayment. And therefore, our Mishnah, which says that the Baal Chayv can continue with this Truma Maser setting aside arrangement, can keep on going as long as the Yerush has some piece of land, in which case the Baal Chayv has a tangible claim, and the debt carried over to the Yerushim. Okay, on the topic of Chazakos, Cheskas Chai, and on the topic of the Mishnah, where we say the Yisrael can actually take possession of Truma and Maser even before it actually physically got to the Kohen and Levi, and it could use that and apply it to the debt. We have a similar brayso. Tana Rabban, Yisrael Shamar Levi. So Yisrael turns to a Levi and he says, Maser, Yesh Lecha B'yad. You have some Maser Rishon in my possession, meaning I set aside some Maser Rishon for you. Ein Choshishin LeTrumas Maser Shaboy. We have no concern regarding the Trumas Maser element of the Maser Rishon. We know that 10% of every Maser Rishon is called Trumas Maser, which goes to the Kohen. We're not concerned about that. The Gemara soon will explain exactly what we have in mind here. But if he says Kur, that's a certain amount. Kur Maser, Yesh Lecha B'yadi. He tells the Levi, you know what, there's a set amount of Maser that I'm holding for you. Yesh Lecha B'yadi. Choshishin and Trumas Maser Shaboy. In this case, we're concerned about the Trumas Maser. My comment, what exactly does the Brisa mean by this? I'm not by it. It means like this. Yisrael Shamar Levi. A Yisrael turns to a Levi, and he says, Maser Yesh Lecha B'yadi. Here, unbeknown to you, I set aside from my crop some Maser Rishon for you, and I want to buy it from you. Here, take money, I'm purchasing it from you. In this case, Ein Choshishin Shema Asoy Trumas Maser Al Makom Achar. Since the Yisrael didn't give him an exact amount, he didn't tell him how much. He said, I have some Maser Rishon for you, let me buy it off you. In this case, we're not concerned that the Levi turned around and designated that Maser Rishon sitting in the Yisrael's possession as Trumas Maser for Maser Rishon that the Levi has in his possession. He can do that theoretically. He can say, I have Maser Rishon, from which I have to separate 10% Trumas Maser to the Kohen. I'm going to use that Maser Rishon there to be moitzi my Maser Rishon. The Yisrael who purchased it from the Levi need not be concerned that perhaps the Levi turned that Maser Rishon into Trumas Maser, in which case the Yisrael can't have it, can't eat it. There's no concern. Why? Because the Levi has no clue as to the volume, as to the amount, and therefore he can't make it Trumas Maser if he has no idea how much it is. Right? He wouldn't do it if he had no clue as to the amount. Kur Maser Yesh Lecha B'yadi, but this time he told him exactly how much it is. It's a kur of Maser that I'm holding for you. Here, let me buy it off you. In this case, maybe the Levi decided, okay, great deal. I want to take that Maser Rishon now and turn it into Trumas Maser for some other Maser Rishon that I have. In this case, yes, Choshishin Shema Asoy Trumas Maser Al Makom Achar. The question is, Atur B'Rishia Skina. We're speaking about dishonest people. You just sold it to the Yisrael. Now you're going to turn around and take that Maser Rishon and make it the Shakli Dami people who receive payment. They take money, Umashvule Trumas Maser, and they turn it into Trumas Maser. Elor says the Gemara, that's not the pshat. Rather, it's like this. Amar Rav Mersharshia, Braid Rav Iti. Amar, the Brisa means like this. Yisrael, we're speaking about children. Yisrael Shamar Leben Levi. Yisrael turns to a son of a Levi, and he says, Maser Lavicha B'yadi. There was some Maser Rishon that your father had in my possession. Here, take some money, I'm buying it off you. Ein Choshishin, the Brisa is telling us now, don't worry about any chance, Shema Asoy Aviv Trumas Maser Al Makom Achar, that perhaps this Ben Levi's father decided to turn the Maser Rishon, which was in the Yisrael's possession, as Trumas Maser on something else. So again, the Yisrael turns to the son of a Levi and says, look, your father knew about some Maser Rishon that I had for him, right? Here, I want to buy it off you. No problem. We're not concerned that perhaps the Levi father had in the past decided to take the Trumas Maser obligation and apply it to the Maser Rishon sitting in the hands of the Yisrael. Why? Once again, because he didn't give him an amount. The father had no idea how much it is, and chances are he wouldn't make arrangements without knowing how much it is. But if he knew exactly how much it was, I informed him during his lifetime there was a kur maser lavicha b'yadeh. I had a kur for him, and he knew how much it was. And now he approaches his son, Ve'elach Damav, take some money. I want to buy it off you. Now we're not going to let him do that. You never know. Maybe the Levi's father, who was aware of the Maaser Rishon that the Yisrael was holding for him, he knew how much it was. Maybe he turned it into Trumas Maaser. He made it into Trumas Maaser for another obligation that he had. You can never know. Therefore, the Yisrael should not be eating this Maaser Rishon, which may have been converted into Trumas Maaser. Asks the Gemara, why would we be concerned with such a chance that the father of the Levi, a sort of remote control, turned the Maaser Rishon, which wasn't yet in his possession, which he hadn't yet received, turned it into Trumas Maaser? You think upright people are suspected of Litraim Shalom and Amukav, to do Truma from far away? Mukav means close by, which is ideally the way you're supposed to do it. Rashi says, Midrabbanan, Taisus brings that right. Bottom line is, you're supposed to do it from close by, not from far away, to ensure that it's really there, etc. So why would we concern ourselves with such a possibility that perhaps the Chaver, this upright man, did such a thing? El Amar Vashi, the pshat is like this. A different case. Hachikama, the Brisa means like this. Ben Yisrael, we have the son of a Yisrael farmer, Shamar Levi, that now turns to a Levi, and he says, Kach Amar li Abba, my father, before his passing, told me, Maaser l'chabiyadi, there is some Maaser Rishon that belongs to you that he set aside for your benefit. Maaser l'chabiyadi, or Maaser l'avichabiyadi, or the father, the son of Yisrael tells the Levi that my father told me before his passing that your father had some Maaser Rishon by him. In this case, we're concerned that perhaps the Maaser Rishon was as is, never attended to, never addressed, meaning the Trumas Maaser element within the Maaser Rishon is still there. It was never separated. We don't say the father did that before his passing, the Yisrael father. Why? Given the lay, since it wasn't a known amount, it wasn't verified, we don't know how much it was, so the owner, the Yisrael, would not have, address the Maaser Rishon and separate it from a Maaser to make it permissible for Achila, which is usually the standard procedure. A farmer would do that, wouldn't just pass away leaving Maaser Rishon, which is Asr Ba'achila. This time we say he didn't do it because he had no idea how much it was. But Kur Maaser l'chabiyadi. But if he says, my father instructed me that you have a Kur, a certain amount of Maaser in his hands, or Kur Maaser l'avichabiyadi, or your father had a certain amount of Maaser, in this case, ein Chosheshin, Trumas Maaser Shaboy. So in this case, we're not Choshesh for the Trumas Maaser element. We assume that the father took care of it before he passed away. Why? Given the kid, since it's a known amount, it's a kur, tikune tikne balabais. We say the balabais already separated the Trumas Maaser. Even though he's not really obligated to do so, it's really the obligation of the Levi, but before he passed away, he certainly looked after everything, to make sure nothing is sitting there that's forbidden. So now when the Levi finally takes possession of the Maaser Rishon, being given to him by the son of this Yid, he can just take it and eat it. Asks the Gemara, but how could a Yisrael be doing the Levi's job, separating Trumas Maaser from Maaser Rishon? Trumas Maaser, does a farmer have authority to do Trumas Maaser from Maaser Rishon, which is really the Levi's portion? Yes, he does. Abba Lazar ben Gamliel, he was following the Shita of Abba Lazar, the son of Abba Lazar ben Gamliel Eimer. The pasuk says, "V'nechshav lachem trumaschem." Your truma will be considered, and the pasuk continues, "Kadogan ben agerin," like grain taken from the granary, "Kamalei ben ayekov," and wine from the wine press. V'shtei trumois hakasav medaber. The pasuk here is referring to two types of truma. Rashi explains, the word trumaschem is Trumas Maaser, but the next part of the pasuk, Kedagan min Agar, that's going on the Truma Gedela, which the Yisrael is separating. So the pasuk is sort of wrapping together both types of Truma. Achas Truma Gedela, right? One is the Truma Gedola, which is the farmer's obligation to separate, which goes to the Kohen, V'achas Trumas Maser, and that's the Levi's obligation. And we sort of connect the two things. That's the purpose of wrapping them together in the same pasuk, to compare them, to equate them to a certain extent, to draw halachis from one to the other. Just like Truma Gedola can be taken by estimate. So although Rashi brings, although the Chachamim tell us, you're meant to really do, 2%, 1 of 50, but Minat Torah, even one kernel is enough. So you're supposed to do it ba'imit, just by estimate, without measuring and counting. That's the mitzvah. Ube machshava, and you can even do it just by machshava, by thinking, by designating with your mind. Okay, that's going to be the truma, even without physically separating. Rashi says it's learned from the word v'nechshav. It's all about the thought process, estimation, designation through mental designation. Kach trumas maser, the same applies to trumas maser. Until it's ba'imid machshava, can be taken by estimate and just by mental designation. And furthermore, just as we know the owner, the farmer, has a full right to do truma gedola, kach yesh l'rishus l'bal habayis, to do the trumas maser, litrum trumas maser, and that answers your question. So bottom line, we had a brisa with a Yisrael addressing a Levi, and the final pshat was Rav Rashi's pshat. Yisrael is a Yerush. He says, look, my father gave me instructions, there is some maser of yours by us. Shall we assume the maser rishon is with its trumas maser, or trumas maser already separated from it, in which case it's mutar la'achila? All depends. If there was an exact amount cited, we assume the father already took care of the trumas maser. If there was no exact amount cited, so the father had no idea, it wasn't a defined amount, so chances are he did not do the trumas maser, and the Levi has to not do it when he receives takes possession of the maser rishon. Concluded, based on the pasuk, that in fact even a Yisrael does have the power to separate trumas maser. Okay, let's just recap today's daf. We started with the sugya of giving a get with a condition. It turns out that an oinus held them back from fulfilling the condition. We have machlokes whether we say yesh oinus begitten, whether it's taken into account or not. Then we move on to a Yisrael loaning money to a Kohen, a Levi, and an Ani, and being nice to them, allowing them to apply any potential truma or maser for deduction of their debt. You can do so. Continue doing so with a cheskas chai. If there was any change of status, they pass away, you have to go to the Yarsham and continue the arrangement. If Bezdin was involved, then the arrangement just continues automatically. It's for the benefit of the collective Leviim and Yisrael and Aniyim. We had several halachas that pertain specifically to this arrangement. Shemitah doesn't interfere. There's no issue of ribbis. And then we discussed how a misa is shchicha but not ashirus, and therefore there's no takana on ashirus. With an ani turning wealthy, you have to stop the arrangement right there. And in terms of the Yershim assuming responsibility, that's only when the debt actually carries over. By way of the karka that they were Yerush, and the Rabbi Yehuda says even a teeny amount of karka also carries over the entire debt. And we concluded the brisa with the Yisrael and the Levi in terms of the maser rishon that he was holding for him. All the best to you, Hatzlacha Rabbah and Besuros Teves.